Welcome. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming in to this features update and general hangout. I have a few things that I have up my sleeve that I'm going to try to share with you in just a little bit. Until we get there, if you don't mind just checking in, Coach Leon Legister has entered the building. Glad you're here, Coach. Thank you for popping in and looking forward to getting to visit with you tonight. Ryan's already here. Richard is already here and checked in. I appreciate them. For those of you who stick around long enough, Ryan is going to make a surprise appearance. He doesn't even know that he's scheduled for this surprise appearance, but he's going to show up in this live stream. You just wait and see. It's going to be awesome. All right. So we're going to be talking a little bit about feature updates in a few minutes because there are a couple of big things that have dropped and a couple of really encouraging things that have dropped as well. Not everybody has done a software update recently. Some have done firmware updates, but not software, and that's okay. We appreciate companies working on whatever it is they get to work on. Eric and Eric, both of you, thank y'all for being here this evening. Great for you to come in and grace us, because I think I made the comment in one of my posts. We're just going to be hanging out with some of the best people in mobile live streaming, and there they are. They just showed up. Thank y'all for being here. Susie, good to see you. How's everything going where you are? Okay, Peter. Yeah, all right. My sweet wife even checked in. Melanie Hoffman, the most beautiful girl in all of the world, came into the live stream with us. That is awesome. RK Stream Time, thanks for checking in. Thanks for being here. So, I have no idea where I was headed in the conversation just a moment ago before I started looking at the check-ins again. That's going to be par for the course for someone who has the adult onset attention deficit disorder that I have. Many of you struggle with the same, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Remind me to talk about this QR code in a little bit, because that's something that will that's something that I'm going to make great use of in my baseball streams this year, and I'm looking forward to maybe offering it to you as well. So we'll see. How does the audio sound? I haven't asked that question yet. It looks like it probably sounds okay based on my visual here, but I want to make sure that it does look okay. I have a few camera shots that I'm going to pan through in just a little bit. We'll highlight and activate each of those in a few minutes, because I want you to compare the shots. So many folks ask, emails, comments in the videos that we produce. So many ask, which one's the best? Which one fits my use the best? Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you letting me know that the sound is good. Thank you, Susie. I appreciate that. And of course, it depends on what your use case is. So often, trying to figure out what it's gonna be like for you if you're streaming daytime, little kid ball, nighttime, big kid ball. If you're going to be indoors, if you're going to be outdoors, basketball is a completely different thing. So I should bump it up just a little bit. You're telling me, Ryan. Okay, so we'll bring that up just a little bit and see if I can get that not to go red, but to be loud enough for everybody to hear. Yeah, I don't want folks having to lean in too much to be able to hear that. Okay. But your XLR cable on your bottom is moving at times and causing a little ruffle. Very minimal, but something to fix for next time. Okay. That's probably true because I'm having to reach over it. I appreciate that. If I didn't have to reach over cables, I probably would be a whole lot more professional. But we all know that's just not me. So, okay. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate the feedback. It's always good to have a professional set of ears on it, or somebody that I consider to be very intelligent anyway. Thank you for doing that. So, looking back and forth between a few of the cameras and folks asking, okay, what's going to be my best option for cameras? And software has so much to do with which camera to choose. I've got a really good camera pointed at me right now. The hardware is wonderful, and the software is just infantile because they're just developing it. I mean, they put out a really good piece of hardware. I thoroughly enjoy using this camera. I've done some testing on it the past couple of days. But software will only let you stream. And that just came. They released the software for a full month before you could even stream with it. So, yeah, which one is better? Your eyes will oftentimes tell you that. So we're going to look through each of those cameras in just a little bit, and we're going to talk about what some of the updates have been. Some of the updates for Mevo, they are moving fast right now. They're working really, really hard to get software, to get the multicam app, and even still the single cam app. They're working really hard to get really good quality features in front of us so that we can use them in our streams. Very excited about that. So as you come into the stream this evening, check in here. I will go through and do my best to take questions, to read comments out, to make sure that everybody feels like they are active and engaged in what's happening here. So be sure you put things. Greeting to each other is great too. Do that because this is a community, and some of you have run across each other and you appreciate each other. I love seeing that interaction as well. So visited this morning and yesterday and this morning with a fella down in Austin who was doing his best to get his live stream set up for the first time. And I got to say, those are the most exciting people to talk to. It's frustrating for them sometimes because they don't know everything to expect. They don't know really how everything works. But oh my goodness, once it clicks, once you get there and they realize, oh, that's a good day when we get to talk to folks like that. And oftentimes I get to do that with video chat, and so I actually get to put a face with a name. That is the best. So good. And I know some of you have helped friends and helped folks that are close to you that are trying to do the same and have felt exactly what I feel, trying to get that help out to other folks. So, all right, let's go ahead and look at some of our feature updates. So the camera I was talking about that the software is just in its baby stages is the Avcans Go, okay? And the Avcans folks put up wind chill in West Texas is a nice 21 degrees. That's pretty cool. Yeah, no humidity, very, very cold, and 35-mile-an-hour winds out there where Richard is. Yeah. Enjoy that, buddy. I'm glad I'm here and not there. It's cold here, and we've got a little wind chill, but it's not that cold. The folks at Avcans have been updating their app, though. I am encouraged with that. I know that Ryan has done some testing with Avcans as well, and he can report his own findings. Ryan, I know that at one point you had difficulty with the app just shutting down and it'd come back up. If you were fast enough, you could keep it from losing the stream, but if you weren't paying attention, it would shut down. I did some testing yesterday, and I did 2 live streams on just private, right? Just checking, just making sure. And both of them with the Avcans app, both of them tried to shut down at about 18 minutes. Over and over again. It would just try to do that. But I was streaming in 4K. 2160. You can choose 2160 as a streaming option. When you're in the stream, it doesn't, or at least it wouldn't for me. While the stream was live to that private stream, I couldn't choose 2160 as one of my choices in YouTube. But once I went back and watched the stream, I could choose 4K as 2160 as one of the options. So anyway, hey Darren, glad you're here. Good people. But at 4K streaming, it would die every 18 minutes. And I noticed in the app we're getting CPU load creeping up to about 40%, and then it would drop over and over again, and it would creep up over the period of 2 or 3 or 4 minutes to about 40%, and then drop again to about 10. And I'm not sure what that is, but trying to work with them, with the Avcans folks, and see, anyway, good stuff. But then they released an app yesterday evening after I did those tests, an update to their app. And they emailed me overnight and said, hey, we've updated a couple of things. Try that test again if you don't mind. So I went back and did. I got 2.5 hours before I had to because I had to do other things. 2.5 hours of 4K streaming today out of the Avcans 4K camera in their app, out of the Avcans Go app. And so I was very encouraged with the progress being made in that software. Hardware is already really, really good. You want to see why I say that hardware is really, really good? I can show you. I think I can show you. So if I switch to this camera, other than it feels like it's a little bit soft, maybe is that what I'm looking at? Soft. I see the difference. So we started off the night with the Mevo Core. I worked really hard to try to get my my color profile right. It's a little bit red. I tried to pull the saturation out, tried to change a couple of other things, and I could never get my skin tone to be what I wanted it to. That's probably pretty accurate because my skin tone's not great, and this is probably just kind of complimentary, but that feels like it's a little bit soft. You see the difference between those two cameras? There's the Mevo Core, and right beside the Mevo Core is the Avcans 4K camera, built in. What is it, 5 times optical zoom on that one, Ryan? I think it's 5 times optical zoom. Yeah, that is the iOS app. I don't have a small Android device to try that, and I don't pull my Android tablet out very often. It's out tonight. We're going to look at some of the things there. But yeah, that's the iOS app there for the Avcans Go app. So yeah, you see the difference in the two cameras. There's the Mevo Core again. There's the Avcans Go. Darks aren't quite as dark in the Avcans. Make sure I'm telling you right. Yes, in the Avcans as it is in the Mevo Core. Darks are a little bit darker in the Mevo. Skin tones are more complementary in the Avcans. So that's one of the reasons that I'm excited about being able to use that little camera. It's not overly expensive. Optical zoom. Has a time of flight sensor in it, so you get really good focus whenever you just let it focus there. So yeah, the Avcans Go, really good progress there. Okay, so you have trouble with the focus with Avcans and Mevo Multicam. I've just left it with the time of flight sensor on here. Put myself in the middle, and it's been decent. I do still feel like it's a little bit soft, and I've slid that sharpness slider up and down to try to find that sweet spot, and I don't like it. But anyway, for a baseball game right there, to run that one across first and second base, or to show one of the outfield positions because I can get it a little punch in with that optical zoom. I am excited about that little camera. It's a good one. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this QR code. What do you say? So this is, I don't know if you took the time to, you know what? Just because I can see it on my iPad doesn't mean you can see it on your screen. So QR code, it was in the opening bit there with the top down. By the way, that's another 4K optical zoom camera that I've not yet identified on this stream, looking down at my desk. You're going to laugh whenever you find out what it is. That 4K optical camera. Yeah, your shots are wide sports shots, and so yeah, you don't have this talking head issue very often, do you? So it says scan for live stream, and if you put your camera aimed at this QR code, if you were to do that right now and allow it to scan that QR code, it's not going to focus up there. It's going to focus back here. That's okay. It would take you to my YouTube channel. And so this is really, I'd say it's an easy print, but you have to change filament, or I do. Ryan has multicolor printers, and he can do it without changing filament. The printer will change filament for him. So he may want to try to offer these as well, but it's just a QR code. And if you want one of these, I've put them up on my merchandise page, my store, my Go Imagine store today. And if you'll let me know that you were in this, take $5 off of whatever the cost of this one was. I think I put them in there for $12 or $15. And if you can pull $5 off, if you'll just let me know if you want to order one of these, that you were in this live stream tonight, and that's where you heard of it from. I'll just pull $5 off of that. I'll refund that to you. I don't know how to do a discount yet on that store. I'm just figuring stuff out. But all you got to do is send me your streaming destination. So if your streaming destination is a YouTube channel, then just put youtube.com/whatever your channel name is, and I'll make your QR code to be that. Print it, send it to you, And Coach says, I would like 2, please. Yes, sir. Go through that store because with the adult onset ADD that I have, I will not remember that. But yeah, go through it. The link's in the description of this video and of my most recent videos. But yes, it's going to be waterproof, right? Rainproof, because it's printed in ABS plastic. So it's not going to fade. Well, I mean, eventually it would fade, but it's not like some other plastics that you have to worry about being out in the sun too long. ABS will do just fine. It's going to last a really long time. Got the little hangy hook on top, so you can hang it on the fence if you want to. I thought it might be something that folks would like to have. Whenever I type in your URL, and it doesn't matter what the URL is. It doesn't have to be a YouTube channel. It can be wherever you're sending your stream to. When I type in your URL there, it's going to generate your own unique QR code, and then I just print it out. I print the base, which is white, then I print the black. Just changing filament in the midstream, and it works great. Okay, Eric, I have seen that Ryan does that on his heat shields, right? Ryan, don't you do that on your heat shields? Isn't that where we saw this? I think I've seen that. That's a really cool idea. Because of the way my heat shields print, I can't do that. I could actually print this if I could then roll the color on, but I don't think that's real reliable. So anyway, one of these days I'll have a multicolored printer too, and I will join the ranks of the elite like Hooch the fireman. I'll be in his league. Well, I will never be in his league, but I'll pretend like I am anyway. So there's a few other things on that merchandise page, on that store page, if you want to go and look through that. Again, the link is in the description. But let me know that you saw this on this live stream, and we'll peel $5 off of each one that you want to order. How's that? That'll be awesome. Okay. Ryan says, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, I've got a question for y'all. Mevo Multicam is an incredibly powerful tool. The app that they've built for us, I mean, it's good, and there's so much that you can do with it. My question is, do any of you use the overlays? Okay, Eric says, as a recommendation, I had my link go to my YouTube live page instead of the main channel so that the live event will be there available. So there's no other clicks to make once they get there, right? Is that what you mean, Eric? It's just you scan that and go to where it's linked, and the live stream opens up. I think that's what you're saying, and really that's a good idea too. Yeah. That way there's no other button presses to make. So I'm asking about the Multicam app, and I'm curious if any of you use any of the overlays. I know that with streaming to Game Changer, streaming to Sideline HD. You don't, Richard. You don't have to pay for a QR code. You're just paying for the print, and so the printing, the design software that I use has a QR code generator built in, and so there's no cost associated for the actual for having a QR code. It's just for the print. All right. Do any of you use overlays? I know that with the advent of streaming to Game Changer and Sideline HD and services like that, we get our scoreboards overlaid now. We don't have to build our scoreboards anymore. I was looking back through some of the overlays that I still have in Multicam. I built a volleyball set of overlays that's editable. You can each set across there for volleyball, home and visitor, which set it is, and you just go into the edit part of your overlay to change that. I forgot I even built that. Of course, you've got your basic football. I currently am using them for basketball and timeout indicated. You're using them in basketball. That's what I got from your post. There may be a typo in there because I'm not sure why you would have a physician in that. So basic football overlay there with a little bit of a graphic. I've used that one a lot for football games. So with my own overlay, since we can't live stream. Oh, Eric, that's brilliant. Going to do your own overlays because you can't live stream, and so there's no point in sending it to a Sideline or Game Changer. Do your own overlays for your playoff. Oh, that's a really good idea. So this is still very, very useful. Again, each of these are editable based on what the overlay actually is. That's a full screen overlay. If I edit it, let me see. I'm aiming those texts to just certain spots on the screen, and the overlay has the boxes on it. So that's just a full screen overlay that has a bottom left orientation of white text. Yeah, so that's all that is. You build your overlays as transparent graphics in another app. I use Keynote because that's the free presentation software that comes on all iPads, and it will let me export as a transparent background. Works really great. Link Spider says when Mevo gets around to adding HTML overlay, oh yes sir, it will be a game changer. You're right, it will, to be able to pull those HTML, those web page type scoreboards, those tools. Yes, very good, very good. That's good stuff. Oh, position and timeout indicated. Yes, that makes much more sense. What software app do you use to create those overlays? Yeah, that's going to be Keynote. It's just a presentation software, but you can build graphics in it. I actually build all of my thumbnails for all of my YouTube videos in Keynote. But you can export them with transparent backgrounds. You can choose your background to be no fill in the settings there, and then whatever is in front of that is transparent, and so that's how that shows up as me behind there, but the scoreboard up. Okay, so the reason I'm asking that, I want to get to that. Sorry, I appreciate your compassion, Eric. sorry to screw with your ADD. This is what I meant by the link to live events page. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Wonderful clarification, and again, I appreciate the compassion for what we have. Dodie, hey, glad you're here. Are you in St. Louis right now? I assume that's where you are at this point in your year. Good to have you here. All right. Okay, Richard is confirming what Eric has said. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing up the overlays is because as I scrolled through these many overlays that I have, I remembered that I did a now batting overlay for some of my games. I think I highlighted it in one of my videos maybe. Working the St. Louis Cardinals spring training broadcast this week. I'm so jealous. Oh my goodness. Kind of gets to be around sports that much. That's just too cool. Awesome. Way to go, Dodie. Enjoy that. And I hope if the Astros play your Cardinals, if the Rangers play your Cardinals, we beat your eyes out. But that's another story. So I did a now batting overlay. Just built it in Keynote. Again, it's just the overlay, right? So it says now batting. That's what it always says. There is a little baseball behind it that's translucent a little bit. You can kind of see through it there. It's good stuff. And then I have a photo holder spot. Probably don't need that photo holder spot, but I built it like that because I knew that if I did a lower third overlay in Mevo Multicam that included an image, you get that little bug image, just a little square image right there where that photo goes, and so you can just have this be an overlay that you turn on and off as a batter comes up. And as you turn this on, you have your lineup, your batters with a lower third overlay like that. So that now batting, number one, Ryan Houchin, there's his picture. He's a shortstop and he pitches. You see, I'm just curious if anybody else uses those kind of overlays. And Eric, I'm glad to know that you do. And I see the use case of it. Absolutely. So what I'm wondering is if I need to start making those overlays that I've built available for people again. There for a while, I was emailing those out, but it seemed like we couldn't get things to line up consistently across devices. I think that was the issue I was having. That's been 3 years since I've done that. But if people are using them, I wouldn't mind just putting these on a Google Drive and letting folks pull them down and use them. I'm not talking about adding them to a store anywhere. I'm just saying make these available for folks, because then you could bring your next person at bat as another lower third, and you can just build those in multicam. I think that might be useful for some folks if they're not streaming to a scoreboard overlay where you have some of that stuff. Ryan says that he uses GIMP, but Microsoft Paint is capable to make transparent graphics as well. That's true. And for those of you that don't know, GIMP is going to be your Photoshop open source Photoshop. It's a copy of Photoshop. It does the same things that Photoshop does, but it's open source, so you can download it for nothing and just learn its. Ryan's peeking at us. Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's a great picture, though, man. I tell you. No, I don't know what number you're on the field, but number 1 in our hearts, man, right there. Ryan Houchin now batting. And so then you just turn that one off, and you would turn the next one on the next time you had somebody come and bat. So that's the overlay question I had. Do you use those? And would it be useful if we just loaded the ones that I've built up somewhere to make them available for folks, make them so folks can use them. I've done a number of baseball and softball ones. This is one of my least favorite, but for some reason it's still in there. And you can do a over the shoulder. I think I did over the shoulder. No, it's full screen overlay, but oriented top left with text. And then I had the, let's see if I still have the, I don't still have. I had the little diamonds to turn yellow. Looks like I've deleted them off of this iPad, but that's okay. Let me kill that. All right. Now, there is some method behind this madness. The reason that I asked about overlays is because one of the things that Mevo gave us in the most recent Android multicam update has to do with overlays. It has to do with how our graphics are handled, how they are organized on the Android version of Mevo Multicam. So let me see if I can try to show you a little bit of that. Okay? I'm going to go over to, no, I'm going to add, let's see. By the way, let's go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. This was our opening shot while the countdown was running. And I have that little QR code. I've got my Android tablet. I got my iPad. I'm monitoring comments on the MacBook over here. Just got a camera there because it balanced out the shot. Got my phone because I'm going to look some things up in just a little bit to talk about. I'm going to kill that shot. But before I kill it, I want you to know what that actually is. That camera is a Zowie POV camera with a 2.8 to 12 manual focus lens. It's got a focus ring, a zoom ring, and a eye open or close. What is it? Iris? I don't know. Whatever that is. That's what that one is. Just a little, and it's tiny. It's probably 2.5 inches by an inch and a half. So it doesn't take up space, but it's right there. I've got it running NDI through a Zowie box into my network. And anyway, it was interesting to me to be able to use that. They sent those to me a long time ago, and I did a video about them, about using POV cameras. They sent me a few of them, and I realized they were sitting on a shelf collecting dust. I thought, hey, I need to use that. So there's my overhead shot. But I'm going to remove that one so I can add in another shot. And that other shot is going to be another of the great features of multicam, the ability to use your built-in cameras on your control device. So I'm going to choose the back camera, the wide camera on my iPad, because I have right there my Android tablet screen. There's probably a cleaner way to get that Android screenshot, that Android screen into this live stream, but I don't know what it is. So there it is. And it's not going to focus real well. It really struggles. That built-in camera struggles to stay focused on that screen. It just doesn't like it. But thank you. Very focal lens, cheap but a huge pain. They are. It took me forever to get that into focus, as much focus as it was. I have a microscope in the clinic that is very focal, and have been complaining for years that I need. Yes, okay, yeah, yeah. We agree. We agree. All right. So I recognize that I am now needing to talk to that. No, where is it? Where is that camera? Oh, there it is. Found it. That camera on that device if I'm going to be looking at you. Okay, but I have to look at the iPad too. So what you're seeing here, we talked about overlays. We talked about graphics, right? Notice here, I have a full screen overlay. I have a countdown. I have a presentation, and I have a camera all in the same tab on a multicam app running on Android. That is fantastic. That is wonderful because it lets me have all the stuff that I use at a touch. And if I'm not running too many cameras, right? If I'm running 6 cameras, I need all that space for 6 cameras. I get that. But if I'm running 1 or 2, maybe even 3 cameras, and I have a couple of overlays that I'm going to use over and over again, or I have a presentation that I'm going to make, that little frog-looking thing is my daughter the day she was born, or the day, not long after she was born. She was 1 pound, 12 ounces. And I make that presentation from time to time about who she is and where she started and the fact that she was just so... her brothers at the time, yeah, sweet baby, so undercooked when she came out of the womb. I talk about that to folks all the time, and so that presentation lives right there. Just a tiny little frog of a baby. Anyway, let's turn that back off. We get that screen back on. But I've got presentation, countdown, full screen overlay, and a camera all on the same tab, and that's one of the things that the folks at Mevo gave us in this most recent update from to their Android multicam. So in addition to that, we have a full screen mode. We can choose full screen mode. Let's just look at a couple of things here. Yeah, let's don't. Oh, we just sent that to the. I'm sorry, Ryan, and whoever else is in the Mevo Discord right now. I just sent that voice recording to y'all. Brilliant. That's because trying to do 2 things at once never works well for me. Okay. So Mevo Labs, there's the new, and goodness, it is not wanting to focus there. So get my hand out there. Maybe it'll focus on my hand. Pull that back. Yeah, right there. Mevo Labs. So there are some features. I've turned them all on. Combine folders, which is what we did. Our cameras and our graphics and presentation stuff all in one folder. Love it. Full screen mode hides the top and bottom status bar from your device navigation stuff. You can still get there by swapping into that area, but it gives you more screen. And then firmware version, I always want to know what firmware version I'm on, and I have to dig for it. So it shows it on the add camera. Firmware right there. When I try to go in and add a camera. Let's go back to where we were with Mevo Labs. And then you can disable the tablet layout and force it to go portrait if you hold your tablet in portrait mode. Really good feature upgrades, feature updates that they gave us for the Android version. So for those of you that use Android in your streams, congratulations. You got things that us poor old iOS users did not get. And y'all are just a step ahead on every update right now for multicam, because what we got, the iOS users got, we got the stopwatch and countdown, we got the NDI HQ and Discovery Server with NDI. Oh, also, the built-in camera is added as a source automatically. And so the things that you got at the last update, we got at this update. But congratulations, Android users. You've one-upped us again. Blast! Anyway, that is great feature updates for the Android version of Multicam. Do you have any questions about what features they've added in the main question folks ask is, when will we get those in iOS? I don't know. Those folks at Mevo don't tell us that kind of thing. So that's true. Thank you, Link Spider. We do have USB capability. And as a matter of fact, the video that's releasing tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, or if you're a member of this channel, you've already have access to, is going to highlight USB camera usage. And it's going to be very specific USB camera usage. I'm going to tell you about that video in just a little bit because I want your feedback about it before it comes out. The idea of it, I want to know if it's something that's useful to you or means anything to you. So let's get the Mevo back up. iOS very soon, he says. Oh, thank you. That's such an official answer. You sound like you work for Mevo, Ryan. Very soon. Yeah, that's coming very soon. Yes, we're working really hard on that. I say that with tongue in cheek and laughing. That's not a dig on them at all. They're doing everything they can, and they're great people. We just pick on them all the time because everything is coming soon, right? If you look on their website, things that have already been released are still coming soon. They really need to update that. I should talk. My websites need to be updated as well. So, all right. So there's some feature updates in Mevo Multicam. There was a firmware update for the Nearstream cameras last month. If you haven't done that yet and you run Nearstream cameras, go ahead and do that update. It's stable. It's good. Firmware update. They haven't done a software update in some time. And the OBSBot folks have not done a software update in a little while, but they're working really hard. I see it all the time. I get emails all the time because they're doing everything they can to get a brand new camera release, the OBSBot Tail 2, which is going to be a PTZ camera with real optical zoom. It's going to have, I think, a 5 times optical lens in there, and the footage that they're putting out is impressive. I look forward to getting my hands on one soon. Like Ryan said, very soon. Getting my hands on one very soon. Doing some testing as soon as I can, and I'm really looking forward to testing their tracking ability because they have really touted their tracking ability on this new camera to be really good. I'll tell you an anecdotal story about the original OBSBot Tail. Came out in 2017. It was a good-sized camera and really cool. Just because it was a PTZ camera that was battery operated and it would track you and it would stream. And I actually used it to stream at church for a little while. But it was very, very glitchy. They were still in some very early stages of software development, and I haven't talked to anybody official about why they dropped it, but they just couldn't seem to get to work the bugs worked out, right? So OBSBot Tail, the original one, 2017, I would fire it up just before, at some point, before I would go preach on a Sunday morning, right? And it would run. It's fine. The people who are leading the musical portion of our church service walk off of the platform and walk by the camera. And when they do, for 6 weeks, they're straight. I mean, every week for 6 weeks, it would break whatever it was doing, and it would turn and focus on this little old man that sat right there next to it. And he had no clue. And he was just sitting there. He was getting his Bible ready. He was opening it up. He was finding the scripture that we were going to be looking at that day. And he had no clue that camera was on him. And I would have to go into the software right before I go preach and move that camera back around because it had glitched out. And it was as though it knew that man was there and it was going to go find him every Sunday and say hello. Wow. The camera was cool. I didn't keep it very long. I wound up I think I wound up selling that to somebody else, and I should probably apologize to them for that because it wasn't a very good camera. But the Tail 2 will be. They have that's 8 years ago. So you think how much you've grown in 8 years, how much I've grown in 8 years, how much that company has grown in 8 years, and they put out an incredible camera at this point. They have really good software. They focus more on hardware than they do on software, but they do a really, really good job of producing cameras. And I'm one of the beneficiaries of that. Is I stream with OBSBot Tail Airs all the time. They're always in the mix for me. I love the little remote because I can do presets. You can even do presets in the Multicam app if you go into image adjustments on that NDI input that is an OBSBot Tail Air. So anyway. We did bring up the Nearstream firmware update that happened last month, and there's the Nearstream camera, by the way. I just switched cameras on you. Don't know if you noticed that or not, but I have these 3 cameras. They are all 3 4K sensors. They are all 3 optical zoom, and so all of them have some level of zoom from where they are. None of them are fully backed out all the way. And so this is the Nearstream VM46 4K sensor, 10 times optical zoom, and that's the image that it gives us in this same room that the Mevo Core. There's the Mevo Core again. And then there's the Avcan's 4K camera as well. The Nearstream is an excellent picture. Man, I'm just impressed with the picture that they're able to get out of a built-in lens that does shift in and up and down the housing of that camera, so to let you have that 10 times optical zoom. They have a decent digital zoom after that. It's hard to know where optical ends and digital begins because I don't think the number 10 on their little slider is actually 10 times optical zoom, but that's okay. And it just produces a really good picture. I love using this one. Let's see. I saw that someone was going to try. Oh, Richard, was it you that was going to try your hand at doing over-the-shoulder shot this year? Was that? I'm looking back. Yes, it was. It was. Might try the over-the-shoulder shot this year. Great stuff. Ryan is the resource for that. There's no doubt about it. He absolutely is the resource for that. Because he's nailed it. He does a beautiful over-the-shoulder shot. Done a great job with that. So, oh yeah, that's right. You've got one out there, don't you? Yes. Behind the plate with the remote. Fantastic. And so you use presets there and actually adjust the shot. That's good stuff. I love it. Fantastic. All right. Do you have any questions about the feature updates that we have talked about? I've got one more thing I'm going to bring to you before I get done this evening. But if you've got questions, throw them in there because we'd love to use this collective mind. I mean, if Eric is still here and Ryan is still here and Link Spider is still here and Richard is still here, all you folks, I mean, you've got some great experience with live streaming. And so you can answer these questions for folks that might have questions for you that your experience will help. All right. Yes, sir. AB13, I have mentioned that I wanted to add Starlink, and I did. I watched the video yesterday about T-Mobile collaborating with Starlink, and the explanation there, as far as this YouTuber was, his explanation of that collaboration is when you get to a place where there's no service for T-Mobile, it goes over to satellite. It doesn't look like this is I can use Starlink satellites to increase my upload speeds, which would be wonderful, but it doesn't look like that's what this is. So unless he misunderstood, and I don't have the information yet. I was just relying on whoever that YouTuber was to tell me. Unless there's other information out there, that's my understanding of what this is. Okay. So Peter says, how far does the OBSBot remote work from the OBSBot tail air? That's a great question. And I do not know the answer to it. A long way. I have been in an indoor space. I've been right at 100 feet away from it and not having to point at it, and it picks it up, no problem. Outdoor space, I don't know that I've actually tested the length, the distance on that. If anybody else knows. There is the Avcans, folks. Good evening. We've been talking about your camera. I've been talking about how great the image is. Matter of fact, we'll go back over to it, and there it is. There is the image. Trying to get it to not be quite so soft there. And when I first put it on, I thought it was a little bit too sharp, so I backed off on the sharpness, and now I think it's a little too soft looking at it compared to the other cameras. But feedback about Avcan's Go 4K camera. I sent you the email earlier. No, I haven't yet. I haven't sent that email yet. I was able to do a 2.5 hour 2.5 hour 4K live stream tests today and had no issues with the software. The update for Avcan's added RTMP a few days ago. They've then fixed a couple of bugs overnight with RTMP and with a sound issue that had crept in. So I appreciate very much how they are taking the attention to detail as they're growing the software for this really, really good little camera. So thank you very much. The teleremote is Bluetooth, that's true. And I guess it's Bluetooth, the long-range version. Was that 5? Bluetooth 5? So 100 foot is going to be the max on that, I guess, right? Yeah. Usually around the back, behind the plate. Yeah, me too. I'm usually just not too far from it, but not right at it, and certainly not pointing at it. Wonder if we could go across the infield. That may be something I can test next time I set up. Just walk around there and see if I can change my presets from across the infield. The great thing is with multicam, if you don't have the remote or if you can't reach your camera, you can do those presets by going to the image adjustments in that camera and change the presets. It's not near as fast. It's not near as convenient. I get that. But it's doable. It is doable. All right. Any other questions that you guys might have? Be glad to try to answer them before I go on to this one last thing this evening before we sign off. It's been a great live stream so far. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you for tuning in. But I've got one other thing that I want to cover before we head off of this live stream. So if you've got questions, I'm not in a hurry, but I don't want to waste folks' time either. I want to be sure I'm not just carrying on for the sake of carrying on. All right. So, Bluetooth low energy, whatever that is, BLE 5.0. Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate the information. That's really, really good information to offer there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the one last thing, low energy. Yeah, thank you. Maximum range of 800 feet. What? So that's more than just 100 foot. That will definitely go across the infield. That's some good information to have, Richard. Thank you. See, the hive mind of mobile live streaming, folks, is unbeatable. It's just the best because you folks are just the best. It's awesome. All right. The last thing that I wanted to cover, and if you throw a question in there, I'll interrupt what I'm saying and I'll answer your question. But the last thing I wanted to cover this evening is so the video that's out for in the morning. Again, if you're a member of the channel, and memberships are like $2.99, I think, and you get access to most of my videos the day before. Okay, so you can go and watch it early. But that video is about play-by-play announcing on your live stream, and so that's where I've brought in that OBSBot USB camera. Your tablet, when you plug in a webcam, is going to allow you to use that as a source. I mean, you can do it on your Zoom calls, you can do it on your Google Meet calls, you can do it on FaceTime, whatever it is. It lets you use another camera. And so what I'm doing this year, when I start streaming, I guess probably next week, what I'm doing this year is I'm going to be doing some play-by-play over the top of my live streams. I've had a lot of folks ask, hey, is play-by-play something that is doable? And it is. It's very doable. Now, because you can use your built-in cameras, you do have the ability to just use the camera that's built into your iPad. I explained this on the video, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you why I don't do that. Let me take that wide camera off, and I'm going to add in the selfie camera, the front-facing camera on my iPad, and I'll show you why I don't use the built-in camera. Because as we're wanting to do play-by-play, and I know you don't have to put yourself on the camera to do play-by-play, but there are times you'll want to. There are in between inning times when the announcements have run their course, when the sponsorships have been shown, when there's still just something that you could show the field, that's fine. But if you're doing play-by-play, go ahead and let them see what's in the press box. Go ahead and let them see this person that's talking to them. They'll engage with you better. I promise it will be better for the folks at home if you'll put yourself on camera every now and then if you're doing play-by-play. Here's why I don't use that one. Because nostril shots are never a good thing. They're never a good look. And so that's what I'm going to get with, and it'd be worse than that if I'm at an away game, because I'm going to be sitting with it in my lap. It's going to be looking straight up, showing all my 8 chins that I have underneath here. That's why I don't use it. So I am determined. I am certain that using a webcam that I can bring up to a different level, an eye level, right, is going to be a good thing for me. And then I can just use the microphone that's built into that because I'm talking right to it, or I'm talking right past it as I'm watching the game because it's right here. Everything is right here for me, and it's just a great look, and it's a good consistent sound there. That I can use for play-by-play. That video will drop in the morning at 7 if you haven't already seen it come through, because for those of you who are members, you've already seen the announcement come through. I hope you get announcements for things like that. So play-by-play, do you do any? That's the whole reason I brought it up. Which camera am I looking at? Do you do any play-by-play for your live streams? I'm curious. That's the last thing I'm asking you tonight. If you don't mind answering, do you do play-by-play in your live streams? Maybe I should ask, would you consider doing it? You could actually set that webcam up for the person next to you, or put both of you in view. Let them do the play-by-play. You do the color commentary as you're doing the stream. That might be a great partnership for you and your best friend to go to these live streams. I wonder if I could talk my wife into doing something like that. I wonder if she would do color commentary for me. We could both be on camera. It would greatly improve the live streams that we have because she's beautiful, right? And I'm not much to look at. So that would be fantastic for my live streams, my baseball streams, if I could talk her into getting on camera and saying all the things that would bring joy to people's hearts during a baseball game. That would work. It would work great. Coach is considering it for this season. That is fantastic. Richard says, no play-by-play here unless someone would do it for me. See, that's what I'm talking about. You got some sons that could do that, Richard. You could talk them into it. I think we may have a student this year doing public address announcing so that I don't have to. I'm excited about that. That's what's going to let me do play-by-play if it comes to that. We've got a kid. I don't know if he's 8th grade or freshman, but he says, "Hey, I want to be involved in baseball, but I'm not a baseball player. Is there anything I can do?" And Coach was like, "Yeah, I need somebody on the public address." So he's going to do all the announcing for us. It's cool. It's going to be great. Streams are much better quality with play-by-play. You know that, yet you say, "I'm not going to do it unless somebody does it for me." Man, oh man, Richard, I think you just rung your own bell right there. I saw it. RK Streamtime says, no play-by-play sitting next to that. Yeah, if you're not in the press box or you're not down a little further away than those parents, brother, RK, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. A microphone like this would help. Much more directed, and it doesn't pick out much sound out here, right? You're just going to get your own voice. And this actually, I know that Eric saw the XLR cord, but I'm actually plugged in via a USB cable for this one tonight. It's just going directly into my iPad, so I could actually use something like this that only picks up here, right? That would be a really good one. Peter says, I would do play-by-play, but need to work out the audio stuff. Yeah, I mean, you do. You have to figure that out. If you've got a camera close to you, you can always plug that microphone in. Let's see, I think I've got one here. I think this one costs $12. It's just a lapel mic, right? 3.5 millimeter jack. If one of my cameras is set up close to me that I'm actually streaming with, plug this in there, put this on my person, and the audio's worked out. And that makes it easy, so long as that's one of my Mevo cameras, and I don't have to worry about the delay or anything. Eric says, Wasatch? How do you say Wasatch? Wasatch. High school raised nearly $10,000 because of their play. What? That is awesome. And it went to their baseball or their sports program, $10,000? That is fantastic. raised nearly $10,000 because of their play-by-play streams. That is incredible. Thanks for sharing that. June says, I do play-by-play for big games or when conditions are good. Hey, kudos to you. Thank you for being willing to do that. I think it adds so much to live streams to get to do play-by-play. And I'll be honest with you, every year that I have live streamed, I have gone to one of the parents and I've said, hey, I'd really like to do live stream, but I'd like to have a color comment. I'd like to have somebody else with me because I can't fill up play-by-play on the live stream. I can't fill up all the time. Well, you know what? You don't have to fill up all the time. I think I've talked myself into the idea that you don't have to fill every dead space because there's game sounds happening all the time. So again, something I'd love to do if someone else scored the game. Now that's a big one right there. The scoring of it. If you're streaming and scoring, you're already carrying 2 loads. Don't throw a third one in there, right? Streaming and scoring, I know there's a rhythm. I know you get there, but you've got to be really, really good and really, really focused, and that's just not me. I'm not very good, and I'm not very focused. So streaming and scoring was something I never got the hang of. Sorry, I'm about a minute behind of you because of dictation and went straight to baseball. Oh, went straight to the baseball. Fantastic. Wow. $10,000 for your baseball program? Well, I bet those kids reap some great benefits from that. Our folks here do a chili supper and raise a good bit of money every year as well. And our kids have nice warm-up uniforms, warm-up clothes, warm-up suits, whatever. They have nice bags. They have nice uniforms. Because when we can raise money to go back into the program, the kids are the ones that benefit. That's awesome. I'm so glad you shared that. And it came through because of their play-by-play streams. That's awesome. Awesome. Folks, thank you. Thank you for what you do for the community where you live, because you're impacting, you're having an influence on families when they can't get there. If my kids were playing ball right now, their grandparents could not make their games very often, if at all, just because of the health that they are, the distance that they are, right? And so when you're able to do that, not only for your kids, but for all of those kids, it is a community benefit, not just your family, not just your kids. And I know you may get some wonderful clips out of that, and that may be good for them and blah, blah, blah. But you're helping your community. And we've been put in a community for the benefit of that community. I'll close it with this. I sound like a preacher sometimes. So God called me to the church that I'm in with a scripture that said, pray for the place where I'm sending you. Pray for its peace and its prosperity, because as it prospers, you too will prosper. And I thought, you know what? I can go there with that. And so I've faithfully sought the good of this community with relationships with the school, relationships with the city itself, relationships with the other churches. And we've seen some great, incredible growth in this town in the time we've been here. It's been awesome. It has been awesome. You're doing the same thing, by the way. Hooch says, play-by-play is so cool to do, but very demanding. And Coach says, thanks to this great community, everyone has helped me a great deal. Yeah, it's good. It is really good. You guys are a fantastic community. I love hanging out with y'all. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm going to sign off. I've got a few things I've got to do before it's bedtime. So y'all have a good evening, and look forward to seeing you the next time we get to do this, maybe in about 2 weeks if baseball season is not too busy. Y'all have a great night.